Wells constituency, hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at the election is as follows. David Field, commonly known as Dave Dobbs, Independent, 373. James Stephen Heapy, Conservative Party candidate, 33,336. Karma Hannah Mackenzie, Labour Party, 4,304. Tessa Jane Munt, Liberal Democrat, 23,345. Susan Dawn Quatermass, commonly known as Susie Quatermass, Motherworld Party, 270. There were a total of rejected ballot papers of 216, and I do hereby declare that the said James Stephen Heapy is duly elected as Member of Parliament for the Wells constituency.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, Stuart, thank you to you and your team for organising such an efficient count, and to all of the count staff for getting through the ballot papers so quickly, and to all of those who staffed the polling stations across the constituency yesterday, and of course the police for keeping our election fair and safe. This election has been a very different journey to the previous two that I fought in this election. 8 weeks ago, the polls had us well behind here. 4 weeks ago, they had us just about level. And so truly, it is with some relief and a lot of hard work that we finished tonight in front. That hard work is really the work of others. Nigel Taylor and the Wells Conservative Association, thank you for reselecting me and giving me the opportunity to go again. John Carter, thank you for leading such an amazing campaign team from the front. 30,000 steps a day at least, I'm sure, and a truly magnificent effort. Thank you. And to that campaign team who knocked on thousands of doors with me, delivered tens of thousands of leaflets, stuffed tens of thousands of envelopes, made thousands of phone calls, put up the posters. It has been an amazing effort, and it's been needed because we've had to have the conversation one voter at a time for the last 8 weeks to get to where we finished. Thank you also to my parliamentary staff who have taken holiday to come and fight the election. It's hugely appreciated. And Max Hopfall, our amazing agent, who we now share with so many constituencies. But Max, thank you for helping us as much as you've been able to. You are brilliant at what you do, and we're endlessly grateful. And finally, to my wife Kate and my children Charlie and Tilly. It's not been easy being married to a politician during the last 2 years when our politics has been so volatile, and I know just how much they've given up in order that I can be able to do what we've needed to do in the hung parliament that was. Ladies and gentlemen, this was an election, of course, to get Brexit done, and it was an election in which avoiding Corbyn became a thing too. But it was also more than that. It was an election in which the country said it wanted to move on. And so as honoured as I am that there are Labour voters who have voted for the Conservatives for the first time, and Lib Dems too, who have voted for the Conservatives for the first time, and of course the tens of thousands of Leave voters who wanted their decision in the referendum to be listened to, I want to say really that tonight is not about celebration and jumping up and down and cheering what's happened. Actually, it's about recognising that if the country is to move on and come together beyond Brexit, then what is required is a truly one nation government that works for North and South, Leaver and Remainer, Conservative and non-Conservative. And I hope that the mandate that this constituency has given me tonight, and the mandate that it appears that the country has given to our party, will be something that we use in order to not just deliver Brexit, but to bring the country back together. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Stuart and all of you who spent so long counting our votes and working through the day, all the teams who've been in the polling stations as well, and to the police, because I know it's been a very long, very hard day, and you do it with such grace and such charm, and thank you. I'd like to thank my team. They've been simply brilliant, and we've had more people get involved in this election than ever before. And I'd particularly like to say thank you to Petra, who's my organiser, who's done a fantastic job. I'll thank my family. They put up with me on a day-to-day basis, and I'm delighted they do. So I think this result is, I'm very pleased. We've gained votes and we've done all right. And we're not going away. And we have to remember that the West Country is an area of non-conformism. It's an area where people are happy to stand up for their beliefs. And I think one of the things that Lib Dems bring to that is a lack of tribal politics. And unfortunately, we have a result that is fairly tribal. But we will move on past this. And I think that there are going to be people who dread the result that's come tonight, here and in the country, because I think if you are less mobile, you have a disability, if you are poor, if you're at a disadvantage, you're going to be extremely worried about what's going to happen. If you're young, I hope that you can see that there is hope. We put forward a platform of a brighter future, and I am concerned about what's going to happen over our climate. I'm concerned about what's going to happen about adult social care, our NHS. There are a lot of promises that have been made which will need to be delivered, and I'm not sure that we're going to have that happening. But my team and I will keep holding our MPs' feet to the fire, and we look forward to moving to the next set of elections. I dread you all, but I'm thinking, and we've been discussing this evening, the County Council elections in 2021. And I look forward to those challenges. They're going to be great, and we will be back and back and back to make sure that people here have a really fair deal, and that rural southeast, southwest England actually gets a fair deal out of our government. Thank you very much indeed to all of you for everything you've done.
I'd like to start by saying thank you to everyone who's been involved in the election this evening, counting votes and all the other important roles that everybody has taken on. It's been a long evening, it's been a long few weeks for all of us. I decided to stand for this election because I work on the front line with vulnerable families who have been heavily affected by austerity and the impact of still not having a solution for social care. The impact of this day to day is making families' lives a living hell. I also work with education as a school governor, and I know how hard it's been to try and manage the cuts to their budgets. So the reason that I stood was to try and make sure that this election didn't become a debate simply about Brexit. But clearly this evening we've discovered that it has been. So I will feel as though myself and my fantastic team who have supported me so well throughout the last few weeks have achieved something if people are still having the conversation after today about all the other issues that matter after Brexit is apparently going to be done. Thank you.
I would just like to thank everybody who's been here this evening in the Counts. Thank you for your intention and thank you for your support in what you've been doing. I would also like to thank all those that have supported the Motherwell Party. We only formed in August of this year, and we are like a little tiny seedling in a very old forest. So we have work to do. We want to grow the party. The women are rising, and we are rising with them. Thank you.
Hi ladies and gentlemen, Dave Dobbs here. You know what today is? It's Friday the 13th. So we always knew which way it was kind of going to go, didn't we? Can you all hear me, by the way? I feel teary. I feel terrified. the implications are terrifying. They're terrifying. It means that we're going to enter into a free trade deal, doesn't it? It means that we've got the gun under the table to the rest of Europe and say, unless you sign a free trade deal, unless you accept genetic modification, unless you accept late stage abortions where you can abort on or before birth, which is what's been just legalised in 2 states in America. Anything that's legal in America becomes legal in this country. It's only a matter of money. So we've agreed to all of that. That's what this is. It's a vote for a free trade deal. And today is Friday the 13th, and something you're going to see today, I don't know how many of you watch what I do, but I make videos about Planet X. And I turned up at an Extinction Rebellion recently, and I said on Friday the 13th of September that a massive amount of volcanoes would go off on Friday the 13th. Not for any auspicious reason, just because of the astronomics involved. And sure enough, 9 volcanoes went off on that day on Friday the 13th. And today, on Friday the 13th, just because of the astronomics of what's really happening, of why this vote is happening today, of what's really going on, a massive load of volcanoes will go off, and you'll get quite a few earthquakes today, because of specifically the astronomics of what is really happening right now. And that's the big thing we're going into. We are opening up Pandora's box. That's what this free trade deal is. You know, it's a terrible, terrible day for Britain today. It's a terrible, terrible day, and it's going to come at an immense cost. Thank you.